What if someone told their hidden bonds paint a whole new picture of Hollywood? Here are 25 black actors you didn't know were related. Of her generation. But what slips under the radar is that her sister, Raina King, is also part of the same far from just the brother of a star. Their dynamic is fascinating because both brothers share the same sharp storytelling style, but each has his own flavor. Donald brings the quirky, unpredictable energy people love, while Stephen adds the grounded emotional depth that gives Keke Palmer shines so brightly in acting, singing, hosting, and everything in between. stories show that talent can run deep, but the real surprises are the bonds that your next Hollywood shocker is only one click away. Regan Gomez Preston. Back in the 90s, Regan Gomez Preston was one of the brightest young faces on television. Fans instantly recognized her from The Parenthood, where she played the charming and outspoken Zaria Peterson. Her sharp wit and on-screen confidence made her a favorite among young viewers, and for a while, it seemed like Hollywood had big plans for her. But as she grew older, the offers became fewer, and soon her face started to fade from the spotlight. Instead of chasing fame, Regan decided to rewrite her own story. She stepped behind the camera, exploring writing, voice acting, and producing. Her voice brought life to shows like The Cleveland Show, while her creative spirit helped her build independent projects that focused on strong black characters and real stories. Away from the flashing lights, she found peace in her family life and purpose in telling the kinds of stories Hollywood rarely embraced. Today, she may not walk red carpets often, but her quiet power behind the scenes speaks louder than any headline. Regan didn't vanish, she simply took control of her own narrative. 14. Michelle Bella Rain. Michelle Bella Rain once looked like the next big name in Hollywood. With her captivating presence and natural acting talent, she delivered impressive performances in Underground and The Night Comes On. Critics praised her emotional depth and ability to command attention even as a child, making it seem like she was destined for stardom. But then, almost without warning, she disappeared from the public eye. There were no scandals or controversies, just quiet. While some say she chose to focus on her education, others believe she became another young performer, swallowed by an industry that often forgets its own prodigies. For Michelle Bella, fame arrived early, but she seemed more interested in growing as a person than chasing the spotlight. In an age where social media keeps every celebrity visible, her decision to stay low-key feels almost rebellious. Though she may no longer appear on screens, her early performances still leave fans wondering what she could have become if Hollywood had given her the space and support to shine longer. 13. Dee Dee Davis. When The Bernie Mac Show aired, little Dee Dee Davis instantly stole hearts. Playing Brianna Baby Girl Tompkins, she brought innocence, humor, and charm to every scene. Her comedic timing was natural, and her connection with Bernie Mac made audiences feel like they were watching a real family. For years, viewers watched her grow up on screen, but after the show ended, Dee Dee quietly disappeared from Hollywood. Instead of chasing fame, she chose a simple life away from the spotlight. She focused on education, family, and finding happiness outside the entertainment world. As she grew older, she shared glimpses of her personal life on social media, showing fans that she had transitioned into adulthood gracefully. While many child stars struggle to adjust, Dee Dee seemed to find peace in normalcy. Her time in Hollywood may have been short, but her performances left a lasting mark on audiences who still remember her as the sweet, funny little girl who could make anyone smile. 12. Thomas Hobson. Thomas Hobson's face might spark childhood memories for anyone who grew up watching Nickelodeon. He gained recognition as one of the stars of the Fresh Beat Band, where he sang, danced, and entertained kids around the world. Before that, he had already made small appearances in popular shows, showing early signs of a bright future. But as the years passed, his on-screen presence slowly faded. Unlike many child actors who faced public struggles, Thomas's disappearance was quiet and graceful. He continued performing in theater and independent projects, but rarely appeared on mainstream television again. While he might not be a household name today, his dedication to the arts never faded. He found creative fulfillment in smaller spaces away from the chaos of fame. His story is a reminder that success isn't always measured by visibility. Sometimes it's about doing what you love without needing the world to notice every step. 11. Camille Winbush. Camille Winbush became a household name as Vanessa Tompkins on The Bernie Mac Show. She was confident, funny, and full of attitude. the perfect teenage counterpart to Bernie's no-nonsense parenting. Her performance earned her multiple awards and a reputation as one of the most talented young black actresses of her time. Yet, after the show ended, Camille seemed to quietly step out of the spotlight. She took on smaller roles, voice work, and independent projects, but none brought her the same recognition she once had. Over time, she became less visible in Hollywood, focusing more on her personal interests and business ventures. Unlike many child stars, Camille managed to avoid scandal and keep her private life intact. Her story isn't one of failure, but of choice, choosing peace, privacy, and control over her own image instead of chasing a spotlight that doesn't last forever. 10. Jamie Foxworth. Jamie Foxworth's story is one of the most talked about among child stars who vanished too soon. As Judy Winslow on Family Matters, she was part of one of America's most beloved TV families. But after a few seasons, her character was written out without explanation, simply gone from the show as if she never existed. The sudden removal shocked fans and changed the course of Jamie's life. Without Hollywood's support, she struggled to find new opportunities. The loss of fame at such a young age led to financial troubles and emotional challenges. In her later years, she opened up about those dark times and how she fought to rebuild herself. Despite the hardships, Jamie eventually found peace, focusing on motherhood and personal healing. Her journey reflects how unforgiving the entertainment world can be and how strength sometimes comes from surviving what it takes away. 9. Brandon Hammond. Brandon Hammond was one of those rare child actors who could make audiences feel everything. His performance in Soul Food melted hearts, and his roles in Space Jam and The Fan proved his talent wasn't just luck. With his expressive eyes and natural charm, he seemed destined for a long, successful career. But after a few standout years, Brandon quietly disappeared from Hollywood. Rather than falling into the usual traps of fame, he simply chose a different path. He stepped away from acting to live a normal life, focusing on writing and filmmaking behind the scenes. Fans who grew up watching him still speak fondly of his warmth and authenticity. Even though he's no longer in front of the camera, his work left a soft spot in the hearts of many. Brandon Hammond may have walked away from fame, but his performances still echo in the memories of those who watched him grow up on screen. 8. Raven Larrymore Kelly. Raven Larrymore Kelly was one of those rare talents who seemed unstoppable in the 90s. She lit up the screen with unforgettable performances in films like Eve's Bayou and A Time to Kill, where her maturity and emotional depth stunned audiences far beyond her age. Many believed she was destined to become one of Hollywood's next great leading ladies. But just as her star began to rise, she suddenly disappeared from the big screen. For years, fans wondered what happened. Some say she chose to focus on education, while others believe Hollywood's limited roles for young black actresses made it hard for her to continue. Raven didn't fade because she lacked talent. She simply refused to settle for roles that didn't value her worth. Though she occasionally reappears in small projects, her long silence from major films remains a mystery. She's a symbol of how even the most gifted young stars can slip away when Hollywood doesn't know how to nurture their brilliance. 7. Marcus T. Paulk. In the late 90s, Marcus T. Paulk was everywhere. As Miles Mitchell on Moshe, he played the charming, mischievous younger brother that fans adored. His comedic timing, confidence, and smooth charisma made him one of the most promising young actors on television. For a while, it looked like he had everything it took to transition into adult success. But once Moesha ended, things changed. Marcus appeared in a few small film roles and guest spots, but none matched the fame he'd once known. Like many child stars, he struggled to find his place in an industry that often doesn't know what to do with actors who've grown up. While he's occasionally resurfaced in smaller projects, his mainstream spotlight faded long ago. Still, Marcus remains remembered as one of the faces that helped define an era of black television, proof that early success doesn't always guarantee a lasting Hollywood career. 6. Orlando Brown. Orlando Brown was one of Disney Channel's biggest names in the early 2000s. With roles in That's So Raven, Major Payne, and Family Matters, he became a familiar face for millions of viewers. His humor, energy, and undeniable talent made him a standout child actor. But as he grew older, the fame that once fueled his career began to work against him. Behind the laughter and camera lights, Orlando faced personal battles that soon became public. Struggles with addiction, erratic behavior, and legal troubles overshadowed his talent. Hollywood quickly turned its back, leaving him to fight his demons without the support system he needed. Over the years, he's made attempts at recovery, expressing hope for a better future. His story is both heartbreaking and real, a reminder of how the entertainment world can lift someone to the top and just as quickly watch them fall when things get messy behind the scenes. 5. Kyla Pratt. Kyla Pratt was once one of Hollywood's most recognizable young stars. From One-on-One to The Proud Family and Dr. Dolittle, she was everywhere, showing off her charm and incredible comedic talent. She grew up right in front of audiences who adored her natural screen presence and bright personality. But after years of steady success, Kyla suddenly seemed to vanish. Unlike many stars who fall due to scandal, Kyla's decision was quiet and intentional. She chose to step away from the spotlight to focus on motherhood and building a life outside of Hollywood's chaos. Now and then, she'd make brief returns to television, but nothing compared to her early fame. Still, her fans never forgot her. They often speak about how refreshing it was to see a young black actress portray confidence and kindness on screen. Kyla may have left the industry for peace, but her legacy as one of Disney's most beloved stars continues to shine in the memories of her audience. 4. Gary Coleman. Gary Coleman's face was once one of the most recognizable on television. As Arnold Jackson on Different Strokes, he became a global sensation with his catchphrase and charm. Audiences adored him, and for a while, he was Hollywood's favorite kid. But behind the fame, Gary's life was full of pain. His parents reportedly mismanaged his earnings, leaving him nearly broke by adulthood. His health problems, combined with constant public attention, made things even harder. As the cameras faded, Gary struggled to rebuild his life. He took small roles, made public appearances, and even ran for political office, but nothing could bring back his earlier success. In his later years, he battled depression and financial instability until his untimely death in 2010. Gary's story stands as one of Hollywood's most painful examples of how fame can destroy those it once celebrated. He was a gifted performer who gave millions of laughs, yet his own life was filled with heartbreak that the spotlight could never hide. 3. Raven-Symoné. Raven-Symoné was more than just a child star. She was a cultural icon. From The Cosby Show to That's So Raven, her talent, humor, and creativity made her one of Disney's biggest names. As a kid, she carried entire shows with ease, proving that she was born for the screen. But after years of success, she shocked fans by stepping away from Hollywood. Raven later revealed that the pressures of fame, combined with public scrutiny over her identity, made her retreat from acting. She focused on self-discovery and took time to find happiness beyond the spotlight. Eventually, she returned in her own way, hosting The View and reprising her role in Raven's home. But her relationship with fame had changed. She no longer chased it, she controlled it. Raven's story isn't about disappearance, it's about transformation. She proved that walking away doesn't mean giving up sometimes, it means finally choosing peace. 2. Taj Mowry. Taj Mowry stole hearts as T.J. Henderson in Smart Guy, playing a boy genius who was funny, curious, and wise beyond his years. Viewers loved his charm and wit, and for a time, he was one of the most beloved young black actors on television. Coming from a talented family that included Tia and Tamara Mowry, his future seemed limitless. But as he got older, his presence in Hollywood started to fade. Taj continued to work occasionally, appearing in small projects and voice roles, yet he never returned to the same level of fame he had as a child. Rather than chasing attention, he chose a quieter path, exploring music and focusing on personal growth. While the world may remember him as that brilliant kid from Smart Guy, Taj built a life beyond acting, proving that success can look different when you prioritize happiness over headlines. 1. Jurnee Smollett. Jurnee Smollett was destined for greatness from the moment she appeared on screen. Her breakout role in Eve's Bayou showcased a depth of emotion rarely seen in child actors. She later appeared in Full House and Cosby, earning praise for her natural performances and undeniable screen presence. As she grew older, though, her career slowed down, leaving fans wondering why Hollywood wasn't giving her the spotlight she deserved. The truth is, Journey never truly vanished. She just took time to evolve. She focused on education and personal growth before returning with powerful adult roles in Underground, Birds of Prey, and Lovecraft Country. Her path wasn't typical, but it was strong and deliberate. Journey proved that sometimes stepping back isn't a sign of failure, it's preparation for a greater comeback. Her journey shows that the brightest stars might dim for a while, but real talent never fades forever. Fame can be a tricky thing. One day, you're everyone's favorite face, and the next, you're gone like you were never there. These child stars gave us unforgettable moments, yet Hollywood moved on without a second glance. It makes you wonder, how many more young talents were lost to the same ruthless system? Which of these stars do you wish would make a comeback? Drop your thoughts in the comments, and don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe for more untold Hollywood stories that deserve to be heard. They once lit up the big screen, carried blockbuster films, and had audiences convinced they were here to stay. But Hollywood is ruthless. It builds stars only to shut doors on them without warning. For these black actors, the fall was swift and brutal. One day, they were in demand. The next, it was as if the industry erased their names. Here are 10 black actors Hollywood won't hire anymore. 10. Wesley Snipes. Wesley Snipes once stood at the very top of Hollywood. In the 90s, he was the action star audiences couldn't get enough of. He showed off his range in films like New Jack City, White Men Can't Jump, and Passenger 57, but it was Blade that cemented his place in pop culture. Long before Marvel dominated theaters, Snipes made a black superhero not just believable, but iconic. He should have been enjoying decades of leading roles, yet his career took a sharp turn that proved unforgiving. The biggest blow came when Snipes was convicted of failing to file federal income taxes for several years. In 2008, he was sentenced to 3 years in prison, a punishment that completely derailed his momentum. Studios suddenly saw him as a risk rather than a box office star. Adding to his troubles, reports from the set of Blade Trinity painted him as unprofessional and combative. Word spread quickly in Hollywood, and the reputation of being difficult to work with stuck. When Snipes was released in 2013, the industry had already moved on to fresh faces and new franchises. He managed to land supporting roles in films like The Expendables 3 and Coming to America, but these appearances were reminders of how far he had fallen from his leading man days. For a star who once proved that a black actor could dominate the superhero genre, the reality is stark. Wesley Snipes is now one of those actors Hollywood won't hire anymore. 9. Orlando Brown. Orlando Brown's career began with immense promise. As Eddie Thomas on Disney Channel's That's So Raven, he was funny, likable, and overflowing with talent. Audiences loved his comedic timing and the way he lit up every scene. He seemed destined for a bright future in Hollywood, with the ability to act, rap, and even sing. But what should have been the start of a long career instead turned into a cautionary tale of how quickly it can all unravel. Once the Disney show ended in 2007, Brown's life spiraled into chaos. Headlines no longer focused on his acting roles, but on his repeated arrests. Charges ranged from drug possession and DUI to domestic violence and burglary. His battle with addiction only worsened things, making him unreliable and unstable in the eyes of casting directors. In Hollywood, dependability is everything, and once an actor is seen as a liability, opportunities dry up fast. Brown tried to stage comebacks with small projects, but the stigma followed him everywhere. Each new arrest overshadowed his talent, making it harder to convince producers that he could be trusted. What makes his story especially heartbreaking is that his natural ability was undeniable. He had the energy and skills to become a lasting star, but personal demons derailed it all. Today, Orlando Brown stands as a clear example of a once promising actor Hollywood won't hire anymore. 8. Stacey Dash. Stacey Dash was once the face of cool and confidence. Her breakout role as Dion in the 1995 teen classic Clueless made her a household name. She had beauty, charisma, and the kind of screen presence that could have easily carried her into long-term Hollywood stardom. For a while, she picked up supporting roles in television and smaller films, but she never quite reached the A-list level many thought she deserved. Then, instead of fading quietly, she became a lightning rod for controversy. In 2014, Dash made headlines not for her acting, but for joining Fox News as a political commentator. She voiced strong and often divisive opinions on race, gender, and politics that angered many of her fans. From criticizing President Obama and Beyoncé to suggesting Black History Month shouldn't exist, Dash alienated much of the community that once supported her. Even Fox eventually suspended her for an outburst on live TV. Hollywood, which is famously sensitive about public image, quickly distanced itself. Casting directors were hesitant to attach her to projects that might stir up backlash. Roles dried up, and she went from being a cultural icon of the 90s to a name associated more with controversy than talent. Stacey Dash later admitted regret for some of her comments, but by then, the damage was already done. Her story is a prime example of how quickly Hollywood can turn its back, and why she now sits among the black actors Hollywood won't hire anymore. 7. Terrence Howard. Terrence Howard once looked unstoppable. With powerful performances in films like Hustle and Flow, which earned him an Oscar nomination, and roles in Crash and Iron Man, he was positioned as one of Hollywood's most versatile black actors. He could deliver intensity, charm, and vulnerability, all in the same scene. At one point, it seemed certain he would become a permanent fixture in blockbuster movies. But behind the scenes, things were far less glamorous. Howard's personal life was filled with controversy. Multiple ex-wives accused him of domestic violence, and in interviews, he admitted to incidents that confirmed those troubling reports. For Hollywood, which relies heavily on image and reputation, these revelations painted him as toxic. The trouble didn't stop there. During the Iron Man saga, Howard had a very public fallout with Marvel Studios after disputes about his salary. When he refused to return for the sequel, the role of James Rhodes was recast with Don Cheadle, signaling that studios were ready to move on without him. In later years, Howard sued Fox and his talent agency, claiming financial disputes during his time on the hit series Empire. He also faced issues with unpaid taxes, further tarnishing his public image. Though undeniably talented, his reputation as difficult became too heavy a burden in an industry that values predictability. Once celebrated as a rising star, Terrence Howard's career stalled, and he remains a powerful reminder of how quickly Hollywood shuts its doors. He is firmly on the list of black actors the industry won't hire anymore. 6. Anthony Anderson. Anthony Anderson spent decades building one of the most recognizable careers in comedy. From films like Barbershop and Kangaroo Jack to his unforgettable role as Dre Johnson in the hit sitcom Blackish, Anderson became a household name. His ability to bring humor, warmth, and energy to the screen earned him critical praise, multiple Emmy nominations, and a loyal fan base. For years, it seemed like he could do no wrong, but Hollywood has a short memory when controversy strikes. In 2018, Anderson's reputation took a major hit when he was investigated by the LAPD for sexual assault. Though prosecutors ultimately declined to press charges due to a lack of evidence, the story dominated headlines and cast a shadow over his career. For an actor who had spent years cultivating a family-friendly image, the accusations left a lasting mark, even without a conviction. Since then, Anderson's roles have noticeably shifted. While he hasn't disappeared from the spotlight, the offers of major leading roles have slowed. Instead of headlining sitcoms like Blackish, he's been hosting shows, making guest appearances, and working more behind the scenes. Hosting the Primetime Emmy Awards and a family game show with his mother kept him visible, but it's a far cry from being the face of one of ABC's biggest comedies. Anthony Anderson remains talented and popular, but Hollywood's caution is clear. In an industry that protects its brand above all else, his name is now linked with controversy, making him one of the black actors Hollywood won't hire the same way anymore. 5. Gary Dourdan. Gary Dourdan's story is one of Hollywood's most striking falls from grace. In the early 2000s, he became a household name, playing Warwick Brown on CSI, Crime Scene Investigation, one of the most watched shows on television. With his undeniable charisma and strong screen presence, Dourdan looked like he was destined for long-term success. Fans adored him, and the industry had every reason to believe he could transition into even bigger roles. But the personal battles he faced would end up overshadowing all of that. In 2008, Dourdan was arrested for drug possession, a moment that changed how both fans and Hollywood executives viewed him. Though the charges were eventually dropped, the damage to his reputation was real. Just a few years later, in 2011, He was arrested again, this time for drugs and felony battery after a fight with his girlfriend. Reports claimed he broke her nose, and he was sentenced to probation. The negative publicity grew, making it impossible to ignore. On top of his legal troubles, Dourdan also struggled financially. By 2012, he had filed for bankruptcy, admitting he could no longer keep up with mounting debts. While his exit from CSI was tied to the end of his contract, his personal controversies made it nearly impossible for him to secure big roles afterward. Today, Gary Dourdan works mostly in small independent films and television projects that don't garner mainstream attention. Once a breakout star, he is now a clear example of a black actor Hollywood won't hire anymore. 4. Mo'Nique. Mo'Nique's rise was the kind of Hollywood dream that seemed unstoppable. She started as a stand-up comedian, bringing raw honesty and sharp humor to every stage. Then came her powerhouse performance in Precious, 2009, which earned her an Academy Award for Best Supporting Actress. That win should have launched her into elite stardom, with endless opportunities in both film and television. Instead, it became the start of a long and painful battle with Hollywood itself. After Precious, Mo'Nique refused to promote the film at international events without being paid, arguing that unpaid work wasn't in her contract. While she saw it as standing up for herself, powerful names in the industry saw it as defiance. She later accused Lee Daniels, Oprah Winfrey, and Tyler Perry of blackballing her from future projects. Her willingness to speak openly about the unequal treatment of black women in Hollywood made her a symbol of courage to some, but to studios, she became difficult. Her legal battles continued in 2019 when she sued Netflix for offering her far less than other comedians for a stand-up special. Mo'Nique called it discrimination based on both race and gender. While many supported her stance, the lawsuit reinforced her reputation as a troublemaker in the eyes of Hollywood executives. Years later, Mo'Nique reconciled with Lee Daniels and returned to work with him, sparking hope for a comeback. Still, for more than a decade, she lived as proof that Hollywood doesn't forgive easily. For all her talent, Mo'Nique remains one of the black actors Hollywood won't hire anymore. 3. Cuba Gooding Jr. When Cuba Gooding Jr. shouted, "Show me the money," in Jerry Maguire, he wasn't just delivering an iconic line, he was cementing himself as one of Hollywood's brightest stars. His performance won him an Academy Award, and audiences expected him to soar to the top of the industry. For a while, it looked like he would. But the roles that followed didn't live up to his Oscar win, and soon his career began to slip. Then came the scandals that erased almost everything he had built. In 2019, Cuba was arrested after being accused of misconduct in a New York bar. That incident opened the door for more than 20 women to step forward with similar accusations. The headlines were devastating, and his image as a likable star completely crumbled. Though he avoided serious jail time by pleading guilty to a lesser charge, the sheer number of allegations was impossible for Hollywood to ignore. Studios quickly distanced themselves. Even with his immense talent, he became too controversial to attach to major projects. He tried to stay active with smaller films and television appearances, but the momentum he once had never returned. For an actor who once stood at the top, his fall was both steep and permanent. Cuba Gooding Jr. is a reminder that in Hollywood, reputation matters just as much as talent. Once your name is associated with a scandal on such a large scale, doors rarely open again. That's why he remains one of the black actors Hollywood won't hire anymore. 2. Isaiah Washington. Isaiah Washington's career should have reached legendary heights. He was already respected for his film roles, but his breakthrough came as Dr. Preston Burke on Grey's Anatomy. At the time, it was one of the most popular television shows, and Washington's character was central to its success. He had charisma, presence, and a growing fan base. But in 2007, everything changed after an on-set incident that Hollywood has never let him forget. Washington got into a heated argument with co-star Patrick Dempsey, and during the exchange, he used a homophobic slur. Reports later suggested the remark was directed at fellow cast member T.R. Knight, who soon after publicly came out as gay. The controversy exploded when Washington repeated the same slur backstage at the Golden Globes while denying he had ever used it. The backlash was swift, and ABC decided not to renew his contract. The fallout was devastating. Washington went from being a series regular on a top-rated show to struggling for roles. He later admitted the incident cost him almost everything: his agent, his publicist, and his standing in Hollywood. Though he managed a few comebacks, such as appearing on The 100, he never returned to the same level of fame or influence. His talent was never in question, but in the eyes of Hollywood, the scandal defined him. Once at the center of a hit show, Isaiah Washington's career became a cautionary tale, placing him firmly among the black actors Hollywood won't hire anymore. 1. Jussie Smollett. Few Hollywood stories have crashed harder than Jussie Smollett's. As Jamal Lyon on the hit series Empire, he was adored by fans for his acting, singing, and the representation he brought to television. Smollett was not just another star, he was a symbol of progress, a young black actor openly playing a gay character on primetime TV. His future looked limitless. But in 2019, his name became synonymous with scandal after an incident that shocked the world. Smollett reported that he had been the victim of a hate crime in Chicago, claiming he was attacked by two men shouting racist and homophobic slurs. At first, he was met with sympathy and support from across the country. But as police investigated, the story unraveled. Authorities concluded that Smollett had staged the attack, hiring two acquaintances to carry it out in hopes of boosting his career. The revelation turned admiration into outrage. He was charged with filing a false police report, eventually convicted, and sentenced to jail time, though his conviction was later overturned on a legal technicality. Still, the damage to his career was irreversible. Empire cut ties with him, and no major studio or network has dared to cast him since. Jussie Smollett went from rising star to one of the most notorious figures in recent Hollywood history. Even with his conviction overturned, the stigma remains, and his career has been left in ruins. His downfall is the clearest example of why he now tops the list of black actors Hollywood won't hire anymore. These 10 actors prove just how fast Hollywood can turn its back. Fame, talent, and even awards weren't enough to protect them. Once scandal, controversy, or personal struggles took center stage. Some tried to rebuild, others disappeared completely, and a few are still fighting to be seen as more than their mistakes. Hollywood has a long history of closing its doors, but sometimes comebacks happen in the most unexpected ways. So, here's the big question. Which of these stars do you believe deserves another shot at redemption? Drop your thoughts in the comments, hit that like button if you enjoyed this deep dive, and don't forget to subscribe for more untold stories from behind the spotlight. Your support helps us keep uncovering the Hollywood truths they don't want you to hear. Hollywood loves the spotlight, but the truth often hides in the shadows. When some of the most iconic black actors left this world, shocking secrets began to surface. Stories of silent battles, hidden sacrifices, and behind-the-scenes struggles that no one saw while the cameras were rolling. These were the faces that inspired generations, yet their pain often stayed buried until it was too late. From untold health battles to injustices covered up by the industry, here are 20 things we only learned after black actors died. 20. Chadwick Boseman's silent battle. Chadwick Boseman's passing in 2020 revealed something few could ever imagine. While fans celebrated his powerful roles in Black Panther, 42, and Marshall, he was quietly enduring grueling cancer treatments. He kept his diagnosis private, never letting illness overshadow his art or the stories he wanted to tell. Even during exhausting chemotherapy sessions, he chose to film action-packed scenes that demanded both physical strength and emotional intensity. Colleagues later shared how he never complained, carrying himself with dignity and focus. His silence wasn't a weakness, it was a powerful choice to protect his privacy and inspire millions through his work. Only after his death did the world realize the unimaginable weight he carried, teaching us about resilience, strength, and the cost of unspoken battles. 19. Michael Clarke Duncan's financial struggles. Michael Clarke Duncan, best known for his Oscar-nominated role in The Green Mile, seemed larger than life. His warm personality and booming presence made him unforgettable on screen. Yet, after he died in 2012, painful truths emerged. Despite earning fame and wealth, Duncan faced financial mismanagement that left him vulnerable. Reports revealed that people close to him took advantage of his generosity, draining resources he had worked so hard for. Behind his joyful smile was a man who struggled to protect himself from betrayal. This reality painted a new picture of Duncan not just as a gentle giant in film, but also as someone who endured deep personal challenges. His story reminded fans that even the brightest stars can be left unprotected in a world full of hidden pitfalls. 18. Cicely Tyson's unheard stories. Cicely Tyson's passing in 2021 opened the door to stories the world had never fully heard. Known as a trailblazer for Black women in Hollywood, her life seemed polished and untouchable. But her memoir, released shortly before her death, revealed decades of pain, rejection, and constant battles against Hollywood's narrow view of Black actresses. She fought to break stereotypes, often refusing roles that demeaned Black women, even when it meant losing opportunities. Tyson carried herself with grace, yet behind the elegance were struggles she rarely spoke about. After her death, her words allowed people to understand the sacrifices she made and the emotional toll of being a pioneer. What was once unseen became clear. Her fight was far greater than her fame. 17. Bernie Mac's misdiagnosed illness. When Bernie Mac died in 2008, fans were shocked by how sudden it seemed. The world lost a comedy giant whose sharp humor and unforgettable presence made him one of the most beloved entertainers of his time. After his death, the truth about his long fight with sarcoidosis came into focus. Many had no idea he lived with this rare inflammatory disease for years, as he often downplayed its seriousness. Doctors and family later revealed that complications and mismanagement worsened his condition, leading to his untimely passing. His death shed light on the hidden struggles of chronic illness, showing that even those who bring endless laughter to millions can be privately suffering in silence. Bernie Mac's story became a sobering reminder of invisible battles. 16. Whitney Houston's pressure in film. Whitney Houston's legacy as one of the greatest voices in history is undeniable, but after her passing in 2012, new stories highlighted the crushing pressures she faced while stepping into acting. Her role in The Bodyguard became a cultural phenomenon, but behind the scenes, Whitney wrestled with insecurities and constant criticism from Hollywood executives who doubted her acting ability. Balancing a booming music career with sudden film stardom weighed heavily on her. Insiders revealed the exhausting expectations placed on her shoulders and how they intensified her already turbulent personal struggles. Her death reminded the world of how fragile even the brightest stars can be, and how much hidden strain is carried by those forced to live up to impossible standards. 15. Paul Winfield's private struggles. Paul Winfield, celebrated for roles in films like Sounder and The Terminator, was praised for his versatility and depth on screen. Yet, after he died in 2004, truths about his private life became more widely known. Winfield had quietly battled health challenges, including complications from diabetes. But what struck many was the revelation of his struggles with HIV. At a time when stigma was heavy, he kept much of his personal life private, focusing instead on his craft. His passing revealed the quiet courage it took to maintain dignity while living with secrets he rarely shared. The world learned not just of his immense talent, but also the heavy burdens he bore away from the spotlight. His story became one of resilience amid silence. 14. Diahann Carroll's quiet trailblazing. Diahann Carroll was known as a glamorous star who broke barriers on television with her groundbreaking role in Julia. But after her passing in 2019, more stories came forward about the uphill battles she fought in Hollywood. Carroll often faced subtle but powerful resistance from executives who doubted audiences would embrace a Black woman in leading roles. She carried herself with poise, yet privately endured the weight of being a pioneer in an industry that rarely welcomed diversity. Friends and colleagues later revealed how fiercely she fought behind closed doors for representation, even when it cost her opportunities. After her death, the full scope of her courage was recognized, showing the sacrifices she made so others could one day walk through the same doors. 13. Gregory Hines' hidden illness. Gregory Hines dazzled audiences with his unmatched tap dancing and charismatic acting. His energy seemed limitless, making his death in 2003 a heartbreaking shock. Only afterward did people learn that he had been quietly battling liver cancer, a struggle he chose to keep private. He continued to perform and inspire others, never allowing illness to overshadow his artistry. Friends later shared how his strength and determination kept him moving forward, even in his final days. The revelation painted a deeper picture of Hines not only as an entertainer, but as a man of incredible willpower who kept giving joy to others while enduring pain. His passing taught the world about the resilience behind the rhythm and the hidden strength within his shining career. 12. Eartha Kitt's outspoken activism. Eartha Kitt captivated audiences with her sultry voice and fierce personality, but after she died in 2008, many people discovered the heavy price she paid for speaking her mind. In the 1960s, she publicly criticized the Vietnam War, and as a result, she was blacklisted by Hollywood and even monitored by government agencies. Much of this history resurfaced after her passing, reminding the world of how she risked her career to stand by her convictions. For decades, she lived with the consequences, often forced to work overseas when U.S. doors closed on her. Though celebrated for her artistry, it was her bravery that shone brighter in retrospect. After she died, her story became not just one of talent, but of fearless defiance against injustice. 11. Sherman Hemsley's secret life. Sherman Hemsley brought laughter to millions as George Jefferson, yet after he died in 2012, surprising details about his personal life came to light. Despite fame and success, Hemsley lived quietly and somewhat reclusively, often avoiding the glitz and glamour of Hollywood. Friends described him as eccentric, enjoying solitude and private spiritual practices that fans never saw. His death also sparked a lengthy legal battle over his estate, revealing how unprepared he had been for the complexities of fame and money. These revelations shifted how people saw him beyond the loud comedic character. He was a deeply private man who valued peace over attention. The contrast between his on-screen persona and his real life became more striking only after his passing. 10. Ruby Dee's letters and activism. Ruby Dee was admired as an actress, but after she died in 2014, her personal letters and stories revealed an even deeper side. Beyond her performances, she had been a powerful voice in civil rights, working tirelessly alongside her husband, Ossie Davis. She wrote speeches, organized protests, and quietly mentored younger generations of Black performers. Many of these details only came to light after her passing, when tributes and documents showed just how much she sacrificed for justice. Her work wasn't limited to the screen. She fought in real-life battles that shaped history. The world learned that Ruby Dee's legacy stretched far beyond acting. She wasn't only an artist, but a force for change, carrying struggles that often remained hidden while she lived. 9. John Witherspoon's comedy sacrifices. John Witherspoon's death in 2019 revealed just how much he gave to comedy behind the scenes. Known for his hilarious roles in Friday and the Boondocks, he was beloved for his energy and delivery. But after his passing, comedians shared stories about how Witherspoon quietly helped younger performers, often without recognition. He gave advice, opened doors, and sacrificed opportunities so others could shine. What fans saw as a funny, father-like figure was also a mentor who carried heavy responsibility. He endured the grind of the entertainment industry for decades, often underpaid compared to his peers, yet he never stopped giving. After his death, the world saw the bigger picture. His laughter wasn't just entertainment, it was a gift built on sacrifice and quiet dedication. 8. Ossie Davis's unshakable convictions. Ossie Davis was a respected actor, but after he died in 2005, the depth of his activism became even more apparent. He wasn't just taking roles, he was choosing projects that aligned with his beliefs, often turning down opportunities if they didn't reflect dignity for Black characters. Stories resurfaced about how he spoke at Malcolm X's funeral, how he pushed for equality on and off the screen, and how he mentored younger voices. His career wasn't easy, and he lost chances because he refused to compromise his values. These truths became clearer after his passing, showing that Davis lived with unshakable principles. His death highlighted how much he gave to both art and activism, leaving behind lessons that extended far beyond film. 7. Thomas Michael Ford's silent health decline. Best remembered as Tommy from the hit sitcom Martin, Thomas Michael Ford's death in 2016 shocked fans. He was known for his warm smile and easy charm, but after his passing, it became clear that he had been dealing with serious health problems. He had long struggled with issues like high blood pressure, which eventually led to complications that took his life. Friends later shared that Ford rarely spoke about his health challenges, keeping much of it private, while continuing to inspire others with motivational speaking and community work. His death revealed how silently he carried these burdens, showing that even while making others laugh, he was facing struggles of his own. Fans learned a deeper truth about the battles behind his joy. 6. Natalie Desselle Reid's overlooked talent. Natalie Desselle Reid's death in 2020 left fans heartbroken, and it also revealed just how underappreciated she had been in Hollywood. Best known for roles in BAP's Cinderella and Eve, she had a gift for comedy and warmth that lit up the screen. Yet after her passing, Many reflected on how little recognition she truly received during her career. Friends and co-stars shared stories of her kindness, professionalism, and the energy she brought to every set. Her death reminded people of the quiet struggles many talented black actresses face in an industry that often overlooks them. Natalie's passing brought overdue appreciation for her work, making audiences realize she should have been celebrated far more while she was alive. 5. Esther Rolle's fight for representation. Esther Rolle, known for her role as Florida Evans in Good Times, was a strong advocate for authentic portrayals of black families. After she died in 1998, more stories emerged about how tirelessly she fought for dignity on television. She often clashed with producers over stereotypical storylines, demanding better representation for black culture and family life. Many didn't know how much she sacrificed behind the scenes to keep harmful portrayals off the air. Her passing made clear that she wasn't just acting, she was actively shaping television history. Esther Rolle's courage revealed itself most fully after her death, reminding people that her impact was not only in her performances, but in her determination to create real, respectful images of black life. 4. Yaphet Kotto's Hollywood struggles. Yaphet Kotto, remembered for roles in Alien and Live and Let Die, had a career filled with groundbreaking parts. But after he died in 2021, troubling stories about his Hollywood experience resurfaced. He spoke openly about the racism he faced, but it was only after he was gone that the full scope of his struggles came to light. Casting directors often overlooked him for leading roles, despite his undeniable talent and commanding presence. Friends recalled how he endured constant typecasting, forced into roles that rarely reflected his range. His death highlighted the painful reality of how systemic barriers limited even the most gifted black actors. Kotto's story, revealed more deeply after his passing, exposed Hollywood's long history of shutting out deserving talent. 3. Roxy Roker's groundbreaking impact. Roxy Roker became a television pioneer as Helen Willis on The Jeffersons, where she played one half of one of the first interracial couples shown on primetime television. At the time, the role stirred controversy, but after she died in 1995, people began to understand the enormous weight she carried as a trailblazer. Colleagues later shared that she was fully aware of the backlash, yet pushed forward, knowing how important the representation was. Her death reminded audiences that she wasn't just a performer, but a bold figure who challenged social norms through her work. Roxy's legacy became clearer after her passing, showing that her courage helped break barriers and reshape television history in ways that would influence generations of actors to come. 2. Clarence Williams III's hidden legacy. Clarence Williams III, famous for his breakout role in the Mod Squad, was long admired for his intense screen presence. But after he died in 2021, fans and critics realized how much of his influence had gone unnoticed during his life. Tributes poured in, highlighting how his performances shaped television and film, especially in breaking stereotypes of black men in leading roles. He inspired countless actors with his boldness, yet Hollywood often failed to give him the recognition he deserved. His passing reminded people that he was far more than a supporting player. He was a quiet revolutionary. Only after his death did the industry fully acknowledge the groundbreaking mark he left behind, cementing him as a true force in entertainment history. 1. Sidney Poitier's untold burdens. Sidney Poitier's death in 2022 closed the chapter on one of Hollywood's greatest stories. As the first black man to win an Oscar for Best Actor, he symbolized progress, but after his passing, tributes revealed the immense weight he carried. He was constantly expected to represent an entire race, choosing roles carefully to avoid reinforcing stereotypes. Behind the elegance and grace, he bore pressures few could imagine, every decision judged not only as an actor, but as a symbol of change. His death revealed the loneliness of being a pioneer, a man who shouldered history on his back. While celebrated for his achievements, the world finally understood the heavy burden he lived with, making his victories even more extraordinary in retrospect. Behind the fame, the glamour, and the unforgettable performances, these actors carried struggles, secrets, and sacrifices that only came to light after their deaths. Which of these stories moved you the most? And which actor's hidden truth do you think the world needs to hear louder? If you want more untold stories of Hollywood's hidden past, make sure to like, share, and subscribe for the next deep dive.